Hello, my name is Julia James, and I'm a career clarity coach. What that means is that I help you find the career that's truly right for you. One of the things that comes up on this search for your calling for the career that's truly right for you is often a feeling of grief and a feeling of loss, and a sense of just alone, feeling alone with your quest. This feeling of grief and this sadness around maybe feeling out of touch with what's truly right for you is rarely acknowledged in our culture. You know, we don't really acknowledge grief in the first place, and leave alone career grief. And yet there are so many ways in which we can feel and experience grief on our journey, on our professional journey. I go into a lot more detail of all the ways in which that can show up on my blog. So I invite you to also check out my blog and read the article I just recently wrote about career grief. But today I would like to share with you some simple things that you can start doing to be with your grief in a more wholesome way. Because usually what we do is we try to shove it away when we feel sad, when we feel frustrated. We try to get back to the happy place. However, what usually happens when we do that is it just festers and it grows, and it can often show up in sickness or mental or physical sickness. So it's really important actually to tend your grief and to also really take it as a sacred guest, so to speak, because when we grieve, it really means also that we love. You only grieve the loss in your career or the things that are not the way you wish they were, because you really have a deep longing inside of you for what you truly want. And maybe things have changed in ways that you are also really feeling the loss of what you had in the past. In whatever way that manifests for you, allowing yourself to just feel those emotions in your body, feeling the sensations in your body of how it feels to be with your grief is a very courageous act in the first place, because it's so uncommon in our culture. When you are in those places of actually allowing yourself to feel that grief, I encourage you to take that grief into nature. There's a way that nature can hold us in our grief and in our joy. So you might even just go into your own backyard. But I encourage you to just take it slow and really allow yourself to be in that place. And as you are being in nature, you might notice that certain elements, certain details really speak to you. Maybe there is this fallen leaf with lots of holes in it that just feels like a mirror to what you're feeling. I invite you to just really allow yourself to commune in that way with nature and let yourself be seen in your grief and see, it reflected back to you. You may even feel like collecting a few items, a few pieces that really speak to you, maybe a few leaves or some twigs or a rock or a feather, whatever you might find. And if you do, then bring those things back home with you. And maybe you want to light a candle and sit with those things. And you may just turn to your journal or a pad of paper and just really allow yourself to express what you're feeling. Those are, first steps to start tending that grief. What's also really lovely is after you've written down, and this may not be necessarily one session, you may want to return to your journal a few times to write some more. But when you feel like you've really expressed it, you've really felt all of this, you may also want to return those items that you collected in nature. Return them to nature. In a way, you're giving back a wonderful blessing, because these items now really carry your grief, and it is a way of nurturing the whole cycle. Because just like we go through all the seasons in a year, we also have to go through all the seasons of emotions in our emotional being. And so this is really a gift, an offering then when you are being with your grief and when you're offering these pieces back to nature, you are also giving of yourself. These are all ways in which you can tend your grief on your own. And traditionally, grief has never been a solo journey. I have been so blessed to be part of community grief rituals over the years. And I'm feeling called to offer that opportunity also to you, because grieving is just so much richer when we do it in community, when we experience being sacred witness and also being witnessed in our grief. It's a real way of just transforming that grief in beautiful ways. And I often come away from these rituals feeling very alive and more connected to the whole. So my desire is to share that with you also. So I'm offering a career grief ritual. If that calls to you, if that speaks to you, then I invite you to simply go to my website, juliajames.ca, and send me a message through my contact page that's simply entitled Yes to Career Grief Ritual. And I'll be in touch with you, and it would be a wonderful experience to be in circle with you and have you join Career Grief Ritual.